The Rams season might be over, but there's still plenty of work to be done. This is Gary Klein. I'm Lindsay Theory for the Los Angeles Times. Free agency, the NFL draft, it's all right around the corner. Les Snead says it's kind of an annual process. That work never ends. But Gary, this is when the work will really start to pick up. However, Les Snead says no real decisions will be made about Rams personnel until after the Super Bowl. When it comes to unrestricted free agents, there's going to be plenty of decisions for them to make. Gary, let's start with a few key players on defense. Lamarcus Joyner, he made the move from cornerback to safety this season. And then Tremaine Johnson, he's collected a mighty fine paycheck from the Rams the last 2 seasons playing under the franchise tag. Both those guys, though, there'll be decisions going forward.
Lamarcus Joyner is a guy that was a slot cornerback, kind of an inside linebacker, hybrid guy. Wade Phillips came in and said, we need to get that guy on the field every play. So he moves to safety. He had a terrific season. The Rams definitely want to re-sign him. It remains to be seen what his market value is, though, because he's only played 1 year at that spot. But he's indicated a preference for staying here and playing for Wade Phillips. Now, Tremaine Johnson, as you mentioned, he's earned a combined nearly $30 million over the last 2 seasons. When the Rams put the franchise tag on him for the second time, there was a question. They even tried to trade him, whether he was going to fit into the scheme. He has proven that he fits in. The fact that Tavon Webster is coming off an Achilles injury probably works in his favor, but the Rams still have to make a decision because he's going to hit free agency whether they want to bring him back.
A couple of key guys on offense that the Rams will need to make decisions on. Receiver Sammy Watkins and center John Sullivan. Now, Watkins was added late in training camp. They needed a deep threat for Jared Goff. And then John Sullivan, really kind of an unsung hero on the offensive line as he helps Jared Goff in his second year improve.
Sammy Watkins, came in as the big deep ball threat. We saw him do that a couple times, but really he turned out to be the most effective on those slant routes, finished in the team lead in terms of touchdown catches. But really, when they brought Sammy Watkins in, they were looking at it as a possible one-year kind of thing. They weren't sure about his durability. He proved that he is durable. He's probably a candidate for the franchise tag because that keeps him in the fold, gives them some time to make an assessment on whether he's going to be a long-term guy. John Sullivan, as you mentioned, a linchpin to that offense. He's a veteran, though. He's been banged up a bit, so he's probably more of a guy on a one-year deal, year-to-year deal. But the Rams see him as a guy who can help a young center come in and learn the ropes. 2
contracts we can't stop talking about, Aaron Donald and Tavon Austin. And Aaron Donald's because he doesn't have a contract. Remember, he held out through training camp, going into his 4th season, never got that deal done. Now he'll be going into his 5th season. Tavon Austin, he's in the middle of a 4-year, $42 million contract. Gary, that's a lot of money to be spending on a guy who really played a minimal role in the offense.
Well, let's start with Aaron Donald, right? Because he's the priority for the Rams. Les Snead always says he's the priority. They talked to his representatives before the season, during the season. Snead says they came to a mutual understanding to kind of cut off negotiations until after the season. Well, here we are. Now we got to see what they do with him. Let's keep an eye on Khalil Mack and the Oakland Raiders to see what happens with his extension because he's probably going to set the bar. In terms of Tavon Austin, as you mentioned, he lost his job as a punt returner. His role on offense really was as a decoy. And next season, his cap hit is $8 million. So as much as Sean McVay talks about, he loves what he brings to the team. He loves the energy. The Rams have a decision to make there.
And then when it comes to the draft, last year the Rams went heavy, looking to fill in pieces on offense. This year they're going to probably shade a little bit to the defensive side and find some younger guys to kind of get into that front seven and, of course, to kind of bulk up their secondary. Gary, on offense, they will also need to start shopping for some offensive linemen. Now, Andrew Whitworth, he's 36 years old. While he was available for all 16 games, started 15 this season, he's not getting any younger.
No, Whitworth is not... we don't know if he's at the end of his career. The way he keeps himself fit, the way the Rams managed his care this season, maybe he has a few more years. But they're definitely going to be looking for some offensive linemen that can come in, kind of learn at his elbow, if you will. On the defensive side, they're going to be looking for cornerbacks because who knows what's going to happen with Trumaine Johnson, and we don't know what's going to happen with Tavon Webster in terms of his physical ability. Connor Barwin, an outside linebacker, he's getting up there. He wants to come back as a free agent. And then the Rams also have to consider what's going on with Robert Quinn and Mark Barron. Quinn at $12.4 million, Barron at $10 million next year against the cap.
Les Snead said they're not looking to save any money, but they are going to have to try and fit everyone in the budget that budget doesn't really get much bigger. It stays the same. As we mentioned, Les Snead said that no real decisions will be made until after the Super Bowl, so we don't anticipate to come to you with any breaking news about who's staying, who's going, but be sure to keep it on the Los Angeles Times, and we'll keep you updated on the progress.